Hotty toddy, Ole Miss fans, and welcome to the Brad and Chad Show on the OM Network. Brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA. This is the show by and for Ole Miss fans, where you'll get expert insight and analysis on Ole Miss athletics. And now, here are your hosts, former Rebels Chad Flowers and retired NFL star Bradley Sowell.
Podcast time.
Brad and Chad Show brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. It is Egg Bowl week. Going to talk about the Mississippi State game. Probably going to talk about a coaching situation that we were still talking about on our last show, but we probably have a few more words to add about that. We also have Rebel great Cory Peterson on our Nest and Wild hotline. We'll get to him in just a second. Bradley, no news is not good news, in my opinion, with what's going on right now in Oxford. We listened to Lane's Monday press conference, and he was not very forthcoming at all.
Really, the only thing I learned from that is our facility has leaking water in it, and he wasn't real happy about it. Maybe we can get the money to get him a new facility while he's at it. So, I tuned in. We pushed it back just so we can see it. Obviously there's a bunch of hype about the press conference today. You've seen everybody texting, hey, what's he going to say? Everybody wants to link to it. Not a whole lot said. Don't know how to take it, honestly. I mean, like I said earlier in the week, you were hoping he was about to put it to bed right there so we can focus and kind of rally the troops and go play to beat Mississippi State. And I think it would speak volumes of if he's staying, why not just say it so our team can kind of get past it? But, obviously nothing said. So this will be interesting, man. I'm telling you, getting them tubby vibes and pine box vibes. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on Thursday, what the energy looks like, what they look like. Hopefully, I know he alluded to it in his press conference, how it doesn't really affect the players. I guess he's, basically said, hey, when he was at FAU, they all knew he was leaving and didn't affect him. So, maybe it won't affect ours if they know he's leaving.
Yeah. Speaking of Tommy Tuberville and speaking of the Pine Box, let's bring in somebody that actually lived through that on our Nest and Wild hotline. Remember, Nest and Wild, created by Southern Craftsmen. They're powered by decades of experience and passion for improving your quality of sleep. Backed by a 99-night guarantee, Nest and Wild will help you sleep easy. Made locally in Tupelo, Mississippi. You can find them on Amazon or nestandwild.com. Cory Peterson, former wide receiver, great for the Ole Miss Rebels. Cory, how are we this afternoon?
I'm doing great. Thanks,
Cory Peterson, what's up, man? Listen, I was huge fan of Doug, huge fan of Cory. So actually, people may know this, but I called a touchdown at Ole Miss wearing number 85. I hope you didn't mind if I borrowed your number there for one game there at Ole Miss. But I definitely chose 85 based off one of my childhood heroes there. Excited to have you on today, man.
Ocho Cinco, man.
Let's go.
I feel good.
So before we get into some of your old playing days, just real quick, what are you up to now? I think that's one cool thing that we like to talk about is what our former Rebels are doing now in their communities.
Yeah, I live in Olive Branch, settled here. I work for a pharmaceutical company called Novo Nordisk, and I'm all over North Mississippi. I sell weight loss medicines. I sell medicine called Saxenda and a medicine called Wegovy. So I'm in your neck of the woods and Tupelo. I was in Stark Vegas not too long ago, so I'm all over the place. So love living here in Olive Branch, and got a beautiful family. My son Cole, he's a freshman at Lewisburg, and then my daughter's in sixth grade at Lewisburg. My wife's here. She works in Memphis, so we're all over the place, busy like everybody else.
Nice. How's your son? Did your son play any sports? Can we expect him to be like his dad or what?
Yeah, no, he's a wide receiver on the freshman team. They finished up. They had a good season, and he's on the JV basketball team right now. So he's staying busy, and he's about my height. I mean, he's
wow.
Now I was looking at him the other day, and I'm like, I don't know if I can take this kid now, but he's a great kid, and he's got the brains like his mom. She was on an academic scholarship at Ole Miss, and I was on the other end of the spectrum. So he go route which would make me more proud. What happens?
Sounds like we need to crank up the NIL form already. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
So We were talking about Lane, and obviously that's that's the cloud circling over the program right now with Auburn. You kind of lived that. You were recruited to Ole Miss by Tommy Tuberville, and he made the comments that he made, obviously, and he went to Auburn. What was that like? Do you see any shades of that in what the current situation is right now compared to what you went through?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what was different then is, we were coming off probation in '97. That was our first year to go to a bowl or be able to play on TV, be able to go to a bowl. We had some tough times with the probation and scholarships and all kinds of craziness, but we didn't have the facilities like they do now. That's a huge difference, and putting money into the indoor facility and all these other things, stadium, everything that these kids have now, we didn't have then. I sounded like the old guy, but in terms of, we changed it quickly. We started winning. We were bowl eligible. Went to 2 bowl games. Tuberville was a popular coach, and a lot of other schools wanted him. In fact, my sophomore year after '97, there was rumors of Arkansas coming after him.
Yeah.
And, he stayed, said he wasn't going there. And then after the '98 season, it just got hotter and hotter and hotter. And we were hearing the rumors, and there wasn't social media or anything like that, but it was out there. And, as a player, you don't think it's going to happen. You think it's like, hey, these coaches are going to be here forever. They're father figures. They recruited you. Nothing's ever going to change. But then you get the call, or you figure out, hey, it's about to change quickly. And this is business. This is big time business. It was hard to take in at the time. I certainly understand it now. Right. But if I'm another school, and I'm watching Ole Miss play now and seeing the offense and seeing how much fun it is to play for this team and all the other things, I would probably go after Kiffin as well.
Sure.
He's a great coach, and he's turned it around. You look at the COVID year. We almost beat Florida that first game. If we would have had one stop in that game, we would have had a chance. But we've been fun to watch the last 3 years. And, he's got us going in the right direction. So, yes, there are a lot of similarities.
It's definitely a compliment. You want people to want your coach, right? That is a sign of what he has been able to do since Matt Luke left. It's just, I think the uncertainty has a lot of people uneasy at this point. So, I hopefully we'll get some resolve one way or the other. I said I want Lane Kiffin to be the coach at Ole Miss, and that has not changed. That stance hasn't changed. I just, hey, at some point, meet us in the middle, meet us at the altar, and let's put a ring on this.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't know if it's his personality, or if Jimmy Sexton is telling him, how to handle this situation, and him representing all these coaches, and maybe every single one of them, it seems like. But, like I've heard y'all say, the money is there. Right. I don't know what else there is to give at Ole Miss. You have everything you need to win and to recruit with, and it's a great place to be. So I don't know what Auburn has that Ole Miss doesn't have. Used to go to football camp there, Bowden Academy. It was like the Manning Passing Academy back in the day. Mm-hmm. I'm in high school, but I went there 2 years, and I don't remember it being just this special place. So was Auburn offered him yet? Or is this just...
Yeah, I don't think a formal offer has come from Auburn yet. I think there may still be some negotiations. Of course, it's all speculation at this point, right? Nobody knows anything other than apparently we've made an offer. Ole Miss has made an offer, and he has not signed the extension, which granted, it would probably just be another year since the state law says you can't have a contract over 4 years. But yeah, the rumor is we've made an offer, and it's been out there for close to a week, and he just hasn't signed it. But then again, he didn't sign last year's extension until the end of the season. So there is some sign for optimism. It's just, it is unnerving because you can see the things that he's building can be pretty special here.
Totally agree.
Would he be your choice, or do you want to see him remain the coach, or do you, okay, go, we can find someone else?
Listen, I'm an offensive guy, and it has been an absolute blast the last 3 years to see this. And the fact that, we were a passing running team the last couple years. And, this is supposed to be almost a rebuilding year.
Right.
And he brings in a great young quarterback. We didn't know who was going to be the quarterback at the beginning of the year. He recruits this great running back, and he gels all these different players coming from other schools. He's good at what he does, and I think he has a great, incredible top mind for offense and seeing things. And as a fan, I mean, I don't want him to go. I want this thing to continue and this train to keep on rolling. It's been a lot of fun, and I think that with the young core of guys that he has recruited, I mean, where we could be next year and the year after that is a lot further than where Auburn would be.
Yeah, that's my thing too with it, Cory. I definitely want to be the coach, and I think if you look at, well, it's frustrating to me is if you look at what we have, coming back, and where I think we're going to actually be in 2023 and 2024 is going to be really special, and like. That's why you'd feel like, that's why I want him to commit to us, that let us know, kind of come out and say, hey, you're coming back. Maybe he does that. But that to me is like, man, we got everything in place. They're going to pay him top dollar. We got all these good players in place. Like, why the hell would you want to walk away from that or even flirt with something else at this moment? Because, what it could be, So I'm with you there. I agree with you on that. What do you think you look like in this offense?
I would look great on the sideline. I mean, I'd be on the sideline, waving the towel all hyped up, making sure, they got a fresh pair of these incredible receiver gloves on. But
I don't know, man. I'll take you in the slot. I'll take you in the slot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get 5 receivers out there at once. I might get on the field. I don't know if I could play with these guys.
When we Bradley and I grew up. Not to make you feel old, but we grew up watching you come into games. There are a few plays that stood out in my mind when I was trying to relive my Ole Miss experiences. One, of course, the 2-point conversion against Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl, fitting since it's Egg Bowl week. The other was Halloween against LSU. I was in the stands watching that game. The ball gets hit, it pops up, you catch it. What is there a certain moment that you kind of relive in your mind? As former athletes, you think about some of the things that you've done. I mean, mine was just high school, but do you have something that you kind of relive in your Ole Miss highlights in your mind?
The Egg Bowl, I was a sophomore. So, I was young, just trying to find a role on the team. So that felt like so long ago. That Halloween game my junior year, that could have been a nightmare. I may have nightmares that, I did fumble, which I did. And maybe that ball doesn't pop right back into my chest. And I'm the luckiest person on earth and didn't let down the team on Halloween. But 99, my senior year, speaking of this situation and Tuberville leaving and taking every single coach except for really a couple of them, that was special. I was a senior, one of the 5 captains on the team, and we had a great group of guys that played. And when we get to the game and see Tuberville and all of our assistants on the sideline and pregame, and it became very, very real. And so that is probably of all the memories, the one I think about the most. And just that feeling we had, and then we were able to go into Auburn. All the Ole Miss fans that showed up in that corner of the end zone was insane. And to get a victory in overtime was pretty damn special. And that one is one that is always in my mind, I should say.
What would you say? Do you still make yourself? Do you still come down to games? Do you still come to Oxford? Are you in the Grove? Do you still have a presence here in Oxford?
Yeah, I'm in Oxford just about once or twice a week with work. But I used to have season tickets and made it to every single game. And then your kids get to a certain age and they got a lot of sports and football games going on. But I made it to a couple games this year. Went to the Kentucky game, which that game felt like the Alabama game. We upset them that first year with Breeze. That was very, very special. And then came to the Auburn game and was in the Letterman Lounge for that game, and that was a fun one to watch. And right there at that level, and see these guys running out, and felt like I was right back in it. And we had a streaker that game, and we had everything happening.
It's got everything.
I saw that guy running, and the look on his face, and I said, "We're about to have a pretty nice little hit here on this guy right in front of us." So, but yeah, we're down there all the time, and still a part of the community and the Ole Miss family. Always will be.
Cory, you involved with the game? Any do any coaching your kids or anything like that, or any interest in coaching?
No. Hey, look, I was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and lived in all these different places. It felt like we were around every 3 years. And in terms of coaching locally, I did that when my son was younger in his first couple of years. But besides that, as choosing that as a profession, I'm way past that. Not that that's what you're asking me, but to see where guys go every couple of years, and to see all my former coaches been in 1,800 different places. Yeah. I never thought that, just moving around my whole life, and where I'm at now, I love it. Yeah. I'm blessed to raise a family here and Olive Branch, and be close to and have a pulse on Oxford. It's special.
You mentioned that you listened to our interview with Doug Ziegler, a former teammate of yours. Do you still have conversations, or do you still communicate with any of your former teammates?
Yeah, Rose here in Olive Branch. He's my State Farm agent.
Oh, there we go.
So for the Auburn weekend, they had a function for former players. Bradley, I don't think he came up there, but it was at the library on Friday night for the game. And I mean, it was such an early game, but it was funny. I see Ziegler and I see Rowe, and we're standing there talking, and I'm always, cracking jokes with Romero, and I'm like, Rowe, hey, Zig, works for State Farm, has his own agency up in Ohio. He's been calling me saying he can, lower my rates a little bit, give me a little better deals than what I have here. And, Zig's like, well, I'm not licensed in Mississippi. And I'm like, shut up. Come on, go along. Yeah, but I keep up with those guys, and Charlie Perkins in Oxford. I go hunting with him every year. My son, T. Wade, Amzie Williams, and then we got a fantasy football league with a lot of guys.
Oh, there we go.
So, still keep in touch with a lot of my brothers.
Yeah, do a lot of tailgating with T. Wade. He's a trip now. T. Wade is something serious now. He's a vibe. He's his own vibe.
Lieutenant, you got to salute Lieutenant.
How's your how's your fantasy football team this year? We'll get too deep into it, but
doing good. We've had this league probably for maybe 18 years now.
Oh, and really? Okay.
Wow.
Amzie Williams, he's our commissioner. If you remember Amzie, and Amzie and I are going at it. We're at the top right now, so we've got a few more weeks going, and then we'll see who gets the pot.
What kind of fantasy guy are you? So when I would play, no joke, we'd be walking off the field, and guys, there would be people cussing out some of our players about, hey, you guys, you ruined my fantasy team. Like you played like shit today. Are you that guy or no?
No, hell no. Because I've been saving this, but the reason I watch Sunday Night Football now is largely to do with you, my friend. So if you want to comment on this, and
oh man, I love it.
Oh yeah,
I feel like I learned those moves from you. That catching moves from you.
I dance like that. I can't move like that, but. I know about this thing, the gritty. Now, was this the nitty gritty?
I don't even know what that was, man. That was a, hey, you score one time, you got to make the most of it. So it wasn't quite a Cory Peterson type snag, but it was close to it. So
it was a better route than me, and danced, and
it was supposed to be a corner, but I didn't really stick it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really stick it. I just got that was almost like a banana corner or something. So
man, you got the job done. You caught it high. Celebrated. Hey, I was in bed watching that, and I went nuts when you scored. I'm going nuts. So anyway, I had to pull that out during the podcast.
Dude, I appreciate it. That's humbling, believe it or not, man. That means a lot coming from you because I guarantee you, I've flipped over a few couches or went nuts during some of your touchdowns as well. So they didn't quite have as many as you, but I had one, and I'll take it. So, hey, dude. Hey, so I feel like before we let you go, man, we have to talk about the fight. You know, everybody always wants to talk about the 97 fight, the Mississippi State. Ole Miss fight. Where were you at in that crowd? I don't remember you being there throwing any blows, but give us your synopsis of that. Did we win?
I tell you what, I mean, thank God it's not high def. You probably could spot me a little bit better, but I was in the middle of the beehive, surrounded by 4 or 5. Nakia Greer was their 300-pound fullback. Oh. You know, I around like I had him just where I wanted him, and he had his arms on me, but I was about a foot or two off the ground, and they definitely had mercy on me because I was in a bad situation where I was at on the field, surrounded by all those dudes. So they had
Nakia Greer was Hernando, right? I think Nakia Greer went to my high school. If I'm not,
may have. I've always heard he's a great guy, but man,
that name sounds familiar.
He had mercy on me, so I guess he was a good guy. But at the very end of it, man, we got the last laugh and one that mattered, the fight and the game. So. Anyhow, yeah, I was there. I didn't have anything good. I cringe when I see it. You go back and look closer, and you'll start laughing when you see me.
Oh man, I bet. And a good thing there wasn't social media back then, right? There would have been much tighter views of that fight.
I mean, you see me trying to run, but you know how fast I was, man. I couldn't get away.
Great route runner though. So you would have just kind of weaseled through there pretty good.
Yeah, man, feet still tell me now.
Well, Cory, I mean, it was great catching up with you. What's your prediction for the game on Thursday?
I mean, it's going to be just like every Egg Bowl. I mean, it's going to be rain, cold. I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, they've got some good players. We've had their number for 2-3 years now. So I'm looking at probably let's say a 30 to 27 game.
Okay.
Wow, I like it tight. I'm thinking it's always like that, man. You know how it is. This is all records down, man. It's always a bloodbath, but between Ole Miss and State, and I hope it is a good game. I like when it's a good game. It's always funner like that.
And the Rebels take it, by the way, 30 to 20.
There we go.
Let's go. We'll take it.
Well, good deal, Cory. We thank you for coming on. Next time you can maybe have a clip or two of me in my high school days, playing football. I'm a little offended, but that's okay. We won't hold it against it this time. But man, we thank you for coming on. It was great catching up with you.
Yeah, Chad, Bradley, thanks for having me, man. I'll find that clip of you and text it. I'll be ready next time, brother.
Appreciate it, Cory. Howdy toddy, buddy.
Howdy.
Yeah, howdy toddy. Cory Peterson on the Nest and Wild Hotline. Brad and Chad Show brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Remember, Blue Delta Jeans, handmade in the USA to fit you and only you. Visit them, BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit using their easy-to-use virtual tailor. Man, it's so cool, Bradley, to catch up with guys that, you sit at Ole Miss games and you're, in your Ole Miss gear, you're a little kid. And these are your heroes, man, because we don't have professional teams, right? These are the professional athletes we got to see as children, and to be able to just sit and shoot the shit with them, man, it was that's cool stuff. It's cool being able to do this.
Yeah, it's funny. It goes back to Doug, Cory Peterson. There's a couple players over the years I feel like were guys I really clung to and looked up to. And when I meet Doug's like, "Oh man, good NFL career." I'm like, "Nah, dude. Like I want you. I used to try to follow you to get your gloves and stuff, dude. Like that's that's the kind of. I mean, dude, as a kid from small town Mississippi, like I told the story a ton on podcasts, but we didn't grow up with a ton of stuff. Like we didn't go to vacations to Florida. We didn't do all this stuff. Like my parents saved up money to make sure we had the Ole Miss tickets to the games. And that was I never forget, my mom had an envelope, and she'd always put like Ole Miss tickets, and she would save up out of each check, whether it be $20, $50, whatever. But, we made sure when it was come time to order the tickets, and I'd always hear my dad bitching, "Oh my God, they went up to $15 this year. They're trying to run us out of here. They're trying to run us out of here." So, that's what we did as a family, man. Like my dad made sure that no matter what, we went to all the Ole Miss games, all the home games. And, and then you go down there and you start looking up to guys, Cory Peterson's, Doug Ziegler's. I mean, there's just the guys over the years that you really cling to, that kind of meant something to you. And, I can name every player on every roster of every sport at Ole Miss, but that's what we did, man. And it gave us something to look forward to as a kid. And, try to be like. So, it's pretty cool, man. It is good to, catch up with those kind of guys.
Yeah, you unlocked kind of a core memory for me regarding Ole Miss. So, my dad was a principal. And so he didn't really see the need to buy tickets, so to speak. That was just kind of that's the way the commoner gets in. So what we would do is we would either sign up for, coaches would get tickets to be able to bring kids in. So dad would either pick those up, or he knew a guy that was a former coach that sold programs. So we would get vendor passes. Never sold a program in my life. We would get vendor passes, and we would just flash them and walk right into the stadium. And then we would just try to find a place where nobody was sitting and watch the game. I don't know if my dad pays for season tickets now, but when I was growing up, I don't know if we ever actually paid for tickets. So
it was much easier to get in the games back then.
It sure was.
I mean, you could go lay down on some of them seats. I mean, it was definitely much easier to get in back in the day. Hell, tickets were damn $10 a ticket. It was. I mean, you get a set of season tickets for $60-$70.
Yeah, we would always try to find the blue folding chairs. You remember those little sections at the bottom of the sidelines? We would always try to get those until we were kicked out.
Yep.
So,
no question.
Okay. So let's talk Egg Bowl. Like Cory mentioned during our interview with him, this is always a tight game. I don't see this being any different, especially considering the way these two teams are trending. Ole Miss coming off of an embarrassing, frankly, loss to Arkansas. State played East Tennessee State, so it was kind of their get ready for the Egg Bowl type matchup. Playing against the air raid offense is never going to be easy, especially as poor as our defense has been. I don't feel great about this game. I didn't feel great about the Arkansas game, and the cloud that's over the program right now is not helping that at all. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, if you look at the game on paper, we'll talk on paper for a minute. I know people don't like to hear the paper side of it, but very evenly matched game. Both teams are giving up 24 points a game. The State's beard is this really good passing team, which they are. They pass the ball a lot, but they also are averaging 150 yards of rushing too. So, it's going to be a tough challenge for us. And you look at all the stuff going on. You hope the players, and I've texted with a player that I'm pretty close with, and he seemed pretty focused, man. I mean, he was he was pretty keen on, hey, we want to win this freaking Egg Bowl, and he's kind of assured me that the message is, they're pretty focused on the team, so that makes me feel better. We are at home, coming off that kind of loss. I mean, if anything, as a player, when you get hit in the freaking mouth like that, whether a coach is leaving or not, there's something called pride on the line as a player,
Absolutely.
right? Like, you're not just going to lay down and get your ass kicked, just because the coach is leaving. So, and I hope that's the mindset they take out there, right? Like, whether he's leaving or not, at the end of the day, it's Ole Miss State. You're the one out there playing. You're the one out there on the field. You better show up to fight, or it's going to be embarrassing. So, I think, man, I don't feel as bad about this one as Arkansas, man, that just had a bad vibe to it. All the stuff going on in the week, but I feel like this week, man, I feel like we're gonna be prepared. I feel like we're gonna be ready to go. I feel a little better about this one. I really do, man. I just can't see them laying down
two games in a row.
Yeah, 2 games in a row. It's just it hasn't happened here in a couple of years, and I don't. I think we're gonna play good this week. I really do. I feel good about it. It could be my red and blue glasses, but I feel like we're gonna come back with some pride this week and get it done.
The one thing that they're going to have to do better is, especially with these receivers, is tackle, right? Yards after the catch is key, because it's going to be a lot of short slants, quick outs, those types of things. It's not going to be your 7-step drops and he's going to try to throw it deep. There may be some plays like that, but Will Rogers can sling it, and it's going to be a lot of medium, short passes, and we're going to have to wrap up and tackle, because if we don't, then they're going to have a real good day, because Will Rogers, he's thrown for over 3,000 yards. He's a solid player.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And I think that, the only example we have that's somewhere something similar to this kind of offense was the Tulsa game.
Yeah.
And those first 2 drives for that quarterback got hurt were a little scary. So,
yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to – it'll be interesting to see how we play it. Like, do we try to pressure him? I don't know, because he throws it quick, or do we try to make him really throw into these zones and see if we can get in front of a couple of these. It'll be an interesting day for us, man. This is going to be a tough challenge. Will Rogers, I know people like to crap on him, system quarterback, all that, but I think he's a good quarterback.
It's still pitching and catching, man. You still got to throw it, and they still have to catch it. So it doesn't matter what system you're running. If you can move the ball down the field, then you're a force to be reckoned with in that regard.
Yep, I agree, man. It is. It's gonna be a tough, a tough challenge for us. But I know we got all distractions. But deep down, I think, if I think I know, but just based off the type of guys we have on this team, man, there's no way you lay down and lose this one. Mm-mm. It is not going to be. It's not going to be. It's not going to be received very well at all. Already said before that Arkansas game. I don't know if I don't even remember when I called you and said hey or talked to you at one point. I said if after all this bull crap going on this week with this coaching crap, if we go out there and lay an egg, it is going to create a stir like you've never seen.
Yes.
And what happened? Now you go out and lay this egg, and he came out his press conference today and didn't say anything about. Well, he said he loved Ole Miss. Not sure what else. Not sure what else I could say here. On my fourth, all this stuff, I get it, but he really didn't put anything to bed today. You know what I mean? He didn't put anything to bed. So we come out here and lay an egg. Oh my, dude! I don't even. I may just shut my phone, computer, everything off for 48 hours, and log back on because you'll feel like you're in a burning building. Is what you'll feel like.
Yeah, now on the other side of the ball, I do think that the Rebels are going to be able to run the ball. It's a matter of being able to capitalize in the red zone. That was one of the stories of the game at Arkansas. Arkansas was like 5 for 5 in the red zone. We had some turnovers. If we cannot turn over the ball, we should be able to run against this team. Now, the weather is going to be kind of weird, so that may help the running game even more. But yeah, I do feel like they're going to be able to get the job done on offense. It's just a matter of
hell. On the flip side, Mississippi State's I think 1 or 2 in the nation in red zone offense.
Yep, they are, and they have good return teams. Their special teams, especially on the return side, is very, very good. So the Rebels are going to have to be aware of that. So we'll see how it goes. We'll have our recap show later this week. Maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, just depending on how that goes, considering the holidays. But just be on the lookout for that. Make sure you like and subscribe. Even turn on your notifications so you can be aware when that new show drops. Let's talk about some SEC picks. Before we do that, let's just talk quickly about Jeff Griffin, Stevenson Griffin Group at Baird Private Wealth Management. You can always go to the group's website, stevensongriffingroup.bairdwealth.com, or always give them a call, 662-841-1900. Jeff Griffin with the Stevenson Griffin Group. So we've got our last week of picks, unless we're going to do bowl week or anything like that. We're both tied, 23, 27, and 1, miraculously.
23, 27, and 1. Man, that's,
we're terrible. Actually, a friend of mine, they were in Vegas. They put a $10 parlay on our picks from last week. And believe it or not, they both lost. Nobody won. There are no winners. There's no winners in this competition because we're both terrible at it. But hell, we're going to do it. We're going to do it for another week. We got 5 more picks coming your way. Fade, fade, fade. So let's do this. Arkansas, they are a 3-point favorite at home, on the road against Missouri. Who do you like, Hogs and Tigers?
KJ Jefferson's back. I think they beat him. I think that the Hogs take care of them. Missouri's worst team in the SEC. I said it earlier.
They are. I'm going to take Missouri at home. They're going to get bowl eligible this week, and they're going to upset Arkansas.
Oh my God! Can you imagine that feeling of Missouri beating Arkansas after we were losing 42-6 at one point?
Yeah. So that's where I'm going with that one. We've got Auburn in the Iron Bowl at Alabama, 21.5. Cadillac Williams hasn't playing well. I think he's going to keep it under 3 scores. They're going to lose, but I'm going to take Cadillac and the Auburn Tigers to keep it reasonably close in the Iron Bowl this week.
Cadillac is about to get in his first wreck. Okay. Cadillac is about to get wrecked here. Man, he's been hype. He's been getting it right, but he's about to go in there versus Nick Saban, and it's gonna be back to the drawing board for Auburn. So it ain't gonna be pretty.
All right, College Station.
That may end up being a soundbite on one of their once they upset them. That may be the soundbite, kind of like old boys on the baseball one at the beginning of that show. So
yeah, maybe
that may end up being a soundbite. So if it is, I apologize, Cadillac, but I don't see it versus Nick Saban, my man.
All right, so we go to College Station. LSU is a 9.5-point favorite in College Station. What do you like here in this?
LSU's going to boat race them. LSU will boat race them out there. Those guys, half those guys are on the phone trying to get out of there on the portal. That I don't listen.
That's
man,
a sinking ship.
Their season's over. Their season's over. I've been in those games before where the last game, it is never a good feel, right? There's not a whole lot of positivity, and you got LSU who, man, they have to stay they have to stay the course, right? They still got playoffs to play for, honestly, because they win this game. They can't have 3 losses.
No.
They win this game. They need to go to the SEC championship, beat Georgia. They're fighting for something much bigger than A&M. A&M's just fighting to figure out how to get out of this $100 million contract.
I agree with you. I'll take LSU as well. Tennessee, coming off a stinging loss, they're going to be without Hendon Hooker, who tore his ACL in Nashville. They're a 2-touchdown favorite in Nashville. I'm going to take Vanderbilt. They're going for bowl eligibility. Tennessee has nothing to play for at this point. Yep. Vanderbilt's not going to win, but they're going to play it close. Tennessee had all their eggs in last week's basket. Give me the Commodores.
Dude, I'm with you, man. Like Vandy's trying to go 6-6, and honestly, man, they really started turning the corner versus us. Like they looked okay there for a minute.
They looked competent, yes.
And now they've won a couple in a row. Tennessee's losing their quarterback. They're not going to the playoffs anymore. They're pretty much playing for just a decent bowl, kind of like Ole Miss, and they don't have their quarterback. And even if they go to a decent bowl, they're not going to have their guys. So I like Vandy to play this close. I like Vandy to make it interesting.
And I think we're both on the same page with this one, but I'll let you speak your mind on this. But the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss has dropped from a 5.5 to a 2.5 point favorite in Oxford, obviously. I do think, kind of like what Cory said in his little spiel, I'll take the Rebels by 3. Very close game against Mississippi State.
Yeah, I like the Rebs to bounce back, man. I don't know if it's my red and blue glasses, but something tells me, unless he is just surely leaving and it really isn't prepping worth the crap, we're going to bounce back, man. These players, this is about the players. This game's about the players at the end. And, I just can't picture a scenario where you get embarrassed like that and don't come out fighting at home in a rivalry game. And I'll tell you what, State's going to try to beat the ever-living shit out of us.
Absolutely.
And we know that that's always the case. But, I'm going to take the Rebs. I think the Rebs will win by a touchdown or so, or maybe even 10 points. I can't see them just laying down twice like that. That would be brutal.
It will be, and we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll have our little midweek line. And we'll have our midweek show to kind of break it down, see what happens. Hopefully, we'll have some clarity on the lane.
Did you see that? Yeah, but before you upload, did you see that one rumor? I know what's crazy. I kind of heard something like this before the season by somebody that was really reliable, that's kind of really in the loop. But something about Leach potentially retiring.
Interesting.
Did you see that?
I have not seen that.
I saw, I've seen it being mentioned a couple times, on the message boards and a couple other things about, there's a rumor going around saying Leach potentially could retire for health reasons after the season. And what's crazy is I kind of heard that from somebody very reliable before the season. But I just didn't put any mind to it. I'm like, that's a long way away. And honestly, I don't give a shit. But so I've actually heard. I mean, I've actually heard that. So it's kind of weird that's kind of coming back up. This late in the year. So that'll be an interesting thing to look out for, man. If State's looking for a coach as well, what numbers does that bring up?
So yes, pure speculation. Yeah, we don't know for sure anything, but that is a rumor that's probably circulating on message boards. I assume that's maybe where you saw it, or maybe someone texted you. So yeah, maybe Mississippi State will be looking for a coach if Mike Leach to retire. We haven't seen anything definitive there, but that would add a lot of interest to the coaching carousel this time of year. So we'll see. Brad is very tight with his sources. He would never divulge those, so we'll keep those close to the vest.
Sources aren't sources funny. Sources. This whole thing on everybody's got a source on this on everything. It's hilarious. I don't have sources. I don't seek sources. I just was told by maybe a coach that was approached. One of their coaching candidates that were talked to about this potentially. So this will be interesting.
Interesting. We'll see what happens, and good luck to the women's basketball team. They're playing Dayton in the Bahamas tonight. We'll see how that goes. We'll recap that in our end of the week show, and then you've got the men playing Stanford in Orlando on Thursday on Thanksgiving on ESPNU. I believe 12:30 is the game time for that. So make sure you check that out. Bradley, happy Thanksgiving, my man.
Been fun. Yeah, man. I think it's been fun, man. It's exciting. You got a new background. You got the Hawaiian blinds, the beachy blinds. You got your grandmother's bed, and you got Archie's jersey.
We're all vibes right now, dude. We're trying to go.
You're all vibes. You got Archie, Eli, grandma's bed, and some beach shades. I love it.
Yeah, man. It's just good vibes here. Yeah, we're just hanging out here in Pontotoc.
I love it. Pontotoc, Mississippi, man. I love it.
Yes, sir. Well, you have a good Thanksgiving, and we will talk later this week. Hotty toddy, Bradley. Hotty toddy, everybody else.
See you, Chad. Hotty toddy.
Thanks for listening to the Brad and Chad Show. Follow the boys on social media for more content. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been an OM Network production, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA.